Ahoy, my friends, Ryder here, and welcome back to another Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis video. Today, I'm heading into the story of the first soldier to be exact, and I'm going to be taking on one of the extra bosses. That boss is going to be in Chapter 4, Attack of the Radaron, and I'm going to be taking down Episode 1, the Gallonbaloir. This is a extra boss that was requested. This guide was requested to me a while back. I tried to do it. I kept failing. It's super annoying because every time you fail, you have to rebuild your team from scratch. But I came back to it yesterday. We have higher levels now. And even though I don't think any of these characters are fully built on the growth board. I mean, Glenn's only at 67, but he doesn't have the 67 nodes fully fleshed out. Matt doesn't have all of the 67 nodes fully fleshed out. I don't even think he's really that close. And then Lucia may be the most built of them, but none of them are actually finished. So if you don't have them all finished, it's not going to be a problem. I think you just need a few certain things to go into this, and then even then, it's pretty flexible. All right, so let's look at the Gallonbaloir. This is an enemy that we fought time and time again. It's going to be weak to fire, resistant to lightning, and water. Keep that in mind. He can stun you, which can be pretty annoying. He's going to have a force gauge, which is similar to the Materia Guardian now, except that as far as I know, the gauge can only be depleted with fire damage. It says here the gauge can be depleted with damage, but most of the time that I fought the Gallonbaloir, you have to be doing fire damage to reduce its gauge. It's going to restore its own HP during the stream phase men, and abilities that deal great damage and buffs like defense up are effective against this enemy. All right. So looks like the sigil requirement is triangle here. So let's go in here and we're going to build a team. I'm going to do this quick because I practiced this so that I could do it well for you guys. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do for Matt, in his first slot, we're going to keep prime number. You need an AoE healing weapon. This is why Matt is here. If you don't have it, this fight is definitely going to be pretty hard. I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's definitely going to be hard. So you can see here I have prime number at OB3. That's going to be in the main slot. In the second slot, I'm just going to choose a high physical damage weapon. So whatever you have that you can slot in there, there's going to be room for mixing around here and there. Matt has a physical attack down weapon, which you could use if you don't have Lucia's event weapon, which is also a physical attack down weapon, which is what we'll be using. But for now, I'm going to use the broadsword axis shoot and slash. All right. In regard to costume, I'm just going to be using the killer attire right here for the HP and the physical attack. However, if you don't have it, you could just use the professor one right here. All right. And I'm going to be going in here with the gigantic shield, even though we're not even really going to be using it. So technically, you could bring his damaging limit break if you have it built up. Mine's only at level 4. So yeah, I'm bringing the gigantic shield. All right, so let's go over to Glenn here, and I'm going to go back through the materia and then the sub-equipments last. All right, so for Glenn, he's going to be our main damage dealer. I'm bringing in the crew kicker here. It's going to deal 480% physical fire damage, so I'm going to equip that. And it should be noted that the Gallonbaloir can AoE reduce your physical defense for the entire team. So the way we're going to counter that is that Glenn has a weapon called the Hardcore Squad. It's essentially a Mithril Rod, but for Glenn. This one is at OB1, so it's going to AoE raise physical defense and magic defense for the party. Keep in mind, the duration of these buffs has never been very long. So as you can see here, it only lasts 12 seconds. So you got to keep that in mind when you're casting this. If you do not have this weapon, I'm going to be equipping it, but if you didn't have this weapon, I suppose you would just bring, let's see here, maybe the pumpkin lamppost to raise some extra damage, or the ultimatic. If you did pull for it, either way, plug in. What's important is that you have the crew kicker. It can be done without the hardcore squad. It's just going to help a little bit, especially at the beginning. All right. Other than that, this is the only costume that I have for Glenn, so I'm going to run it, and we're running Hellfire in the summon slot because we're building him for fire damage. All right, so for Lucia, I'm going to switch her costume to the Marks Queen, attack and physical defense. The Gallonbaloir is a physical attacking monster. So I'm going to equip that. Then I'm going to go in, I'm going to change the skin back to this one since it's so much better. For the first weapon, I'm going to choose the Black Rifle just for the high physical non-elemental damage. Okay, so we'll take that. And then in the second slot, I'm going to equip this weapon, the Feather Scatter. It is a free event weapon. I got to OB10. You can reduce physical attack from low to mid. So we're going to be using that periodically throughout the fight. All right, so that, and for her limit break, I'm going to be bringing Cerulean Raven to also help her reduce physical attack. All right, so that is going to be their weapons, costumes, limit breaks, and summons. Now we're going to go into the actual materias, okay? So for Matt, if I check his weapon right here, we have a buff debuff extension of plus 20% right here. So we're going to utilize that. So I'm going to go into here. I'm going to filter NA on both sigil and element. We're going to go down and we're going to plug in the fire breach. Now the fire breach is going to last 20% longer now because of that. Other than that, we're going to keep a triangle sigil in his first slot. Normally I like to keep them all in the third slot if I can, but in special cases like this, when you have something like this, you want to definitely utilize it. All right, so I'm going to go in here. We're going to unfilter these, go to triangle. All right, and just make sure we give him the one with the highest healing potency, which is going to be this one right here. Okay, then we're going to go to Glenn. We're going to equip him the 5-star triangle sigil Ruiner Blow, and then we're going to go to Lucia, and we're going to put hers in the third slot right there. So we're just going to keep that in mind. All right, now on Lucia and Glenn, I'm going to put a Cura for each of them. So in order to see those, I'm going to NA both of those. And let's see here. All right, this one has physical attack 1.8%. Okay, good. And Glenn's is at 4.9%. Okay, perfect. All right, so they're going to both have those Curas in the first slot. Now, the last thing we're going to be doing is we're going to be putting the Fire Blows on every character. Keep in mind, everyone in this team is built for physical, so it's a little bit easier. So I'm going to go to Fire right here. And I'm not going to give Matt the strongest one. We're going to look for one that has good healing, and then possibly also physical attack. This one has 2.1% healing, 2.6%. This one, all right, worst one had 2.6%. All right, so we're going to go with this one for Matt. For Glenn, we're going to take the 4-star Fire Blow. And then on Lucia, we're going to take a high physical attack one. So this one has 1.9. This one has 1.7. This one has 3%. All right, perfect. So let's go back out to the main menu and check out our team from afar. This is going to be the setup on the front end of the character team build. Now we're going to go into the back end, and I'm going to show you guys how to do it. All right, so let's go to the sub-equips right here. I'm going to come down. The first thing I'm going to do is slot Fairy Tale. Whatever you slot right here should be your highest sub-equipment for boosting healing, all right? So I'm going to put Fairy Tale. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put the Aonibi for the HP and ability potency. And the last thing I'm going to do is equip a Hell House Collar for HP and physical defense. Now, Matt is going to be sitting at 63k power, 8.4k HP, 1.9k physical attack, and 1800 healing. His R abilities are as shown here. I'll pop this up for you guys to pause on if you like. But this is going to be Matt going into the last battle. Now, let's switch over to Glenn. All right, so in the first slot, I'm going to steal this Murasame right here. Then we're going to go into the filter, go to the R ability slot, elemental potency, boost fire potency. We're going to filter it. All right, in the first slot, I'm going to take Sky Splitter, so whatever you have that boosts fire potential. All right, and in the second slot, I'm going to take the Radiant Edge, but whatever you have that boosts fire potential. So now, this is going to be Glenn's setup for the sub-weapons. He's going to be sitting at 66k power, 7.4k HP, 2.7k physical attack, 127 physical defense. And you can see here he's got level 5 fire potency, which is going to be great. These are his R abilities if you guys want to check it out. And that is going to be Glenn going into the final fight. Now, last but not least, here we have Lucia. All right, so I'm going to show you guys how I'm building her. I'm going to steal the Maritime Sword into the first slot. So whatever you have that's super high physical attack. In the second slot, I'm going to go down and we're going to slot the Hell House Cannon for HP and physical defense. And in the third slot, I'm going to make this easy on everyone. We're just going to go slot the Buster Sword here for a little bit of attack and HP. Now, Lucia is going to go into the final fight. 60k power, 7.6k HP, 2.7k physical attack, 150 physical defense. These are her R abilities right here. So she's looking pretty good if you guys want to check those out. So all in all, looking pretty solid. So let's check out our overall power on the team. We're sitting at 189,000 power, and the boss battle is recommended 185,000. All right, so I'm going to walk you guys through the actual strategy of this fight in a nutshell. When we go into the fight, the first thing we're going to do is switch to the defense stance. Remember, this is the Gallonbaloir. He's a little bastard, and he always rushes you right at the beginning of the fight. You have to manually block that. After that, your natural inclination is going to be to heal. Don't heal. Immediately start charging that fire damage on him to burn down his force gauge, because once the force gauge is depleted all the way, like the Iron Giant, he will be stunned and toppled. That's going to give you time to heal up, use Glenn to cast the Hardcore Squad, P-Def up, M-Def up for the team, and you can use Lucia to debuff his physical attack. After that, he's going to have 2 sigil phases. So just keep in mind that they're coming. You can be a little bit saving with your ATB. With Matt, we're going to be fire breaching the whole fight. Glenn's going to basically be doing damage the entire fight with Crew Kicker, and Lucia is going to go back and forth between fire blows and debuffing physical attack. That being said, let's get into this fight. I'm going to show you guys how to clear it. Finally, this stupid Gallonbaloir, this extra boss, has been freaking setting me back for too long. All right, let's take it down. All right, beginning of the fight, switch to defense. That's the first thing you're going to do. He is going to rush you. Don't worry about the P-Def debuffs on us right now. Immediately after, we're going to switch to Matt and Fire Breach. And then we're just going to Fire Blow and do as much damage to this thing as we can. Every single person is just going to be charging damage. All right, here we go. And almost there, almost there. Come on. All right, there it is. Okay, with Lucia, we're going to debuff him. With Glenn, we are going to Good Vibes. Okay. Actually, Good Vibes. And with Matt, we're going to heal. And we should be perfectly set up to block his first attack. All right, that is the first phase of the fight. That's honestly the hardest part too. So if you get through that, you can beat this fight. All right, let's go. After this, I'm going to Fire Breach. And remember, we're going to keep our ATB as high as we can because he is going to be going into a sigil break here in a second. All right, so I'm going to let the ATB kind of charge up a bit. All right, Matt's going to change over. We're going to get a heal in. Okay. Ooh, man, he just loves those stuns, doesn't he? All right, so here it is, the first sigil break. There are 2 in this fight. All right, here we go. Looking good. All right. I'm going to make sure to attack once we break him with both Glenn and Lucia. All right, here we go. Here we go. All right, another Fire Breach. Lucia will lower his physical attack. Spinning Blaze. Matt's going to heal right here. And we're just waiting for our limit breaks right now. Here comes the second sigil break. It's going to be 27. It's more sigil breaks, but it's a slower cast, so don't worry about it. If you can get this far, you got this. All right, here we go, down to 9. We just need 3 more. We're not even halfway through it. Okay, here we go. And there it is. Gonna Fire Breach with Matt. Glenn is gonna do as much damage here as he can. Fire blows here with Lucia. And in a second here, once I get this Fire Breach off, and we get a couple more attacks, we're gonna launch all into the summons. All right, and 3, 2, 1, boom. This is gonna either kill him or take him very close to dying. And this bastard, we all know it, he deserves to die. All right, there goes the gigantic shield. Cerulean Raven for the extra physical attack down and a little damage. All right, and last but not least, one of my favorite summons in the game, Ifrit himself, one of the reasons why I loved Final Fantasy 16. All right, there you have it. He's really close to dying right here. All right, we're going to get a Fire Blow. And one last Fire Blow from Glenn. And that is the fight, ladies and gentlemen. Honestly, if you have it down, if you have something close to this weapon setup, I think that the most important weapons are going to be Matt's Prime Number and Glenn's Crew Kicker for this. Other than that, you can really just fill in here and there. The heart, or the, what is the name of that weapon? The Hardcore Squad, I guess, is definitely helpful if you do have it. I think it is, oh my gosh, I lost my entire team. Can't even show you the team that I just built. But anyways, you guys, I hope this video was helpful. If it was, drop a like, sub to the channel. Of course, I always appreciate it. So thank you guys so much from the bottom of my heart. That being said, Hope you all have a wonderful day. Take care and peace.